Chapter 3. We continue as we see Akari taking a shower as she's in a good mood. As she's showering, she repeats the MC saying, "If I could eat such delicious food every day, I would be happy." She recalls his face as he told her that she will be the best wife. She gets in the bathtub as she remembers this and starts smiling and giggling. She gets shy and starts kicking her feet in the water. Now on the other side, we see the MC sitting and thinking real hard. We see him sweating as he thinks and gets worried. Suddenly, he gets up. Now we see that he actually walked out to the balcony and fell down on his knees there. As he is on his knees, he wonders if these exciting days are going to continue throughout the summer vacation. He holds the wall for support and asks himself, why is this happening? Suddenly he remembers the reason for all of this. He remembers his friend. He gets angry and starts calling him as he says, "That bastard? What the hell is he thinking?" I'm gonna ask him some questions. The friend picks up the call like he's an idol and asks the MC how's his life right now. Hearing this makes the MC even more angry. As the MC sits on the stairs and talks to his friend, he says, "You honestly don't want to return the 500 yen. I mean, you don't have to give it back. Just tell me what the hell are you plotting this time?" The friend replies and tells him that of course he'll pay him back. It's just that he's short on cash and he needs the MC to wait a little. The friend tells him that's all he's got, with a romantic voice. Hearing this pisses off the MC as he thinks what's the point of going to Saipan if he's that broke. The MC tells the friend to put himself in Akari's shoes, who got caught up in this. Offering his little sister to a 500 yen debt is the worst thing he can do. The friend replies and tells him to calm down and asks if Akari minds this. The MC thinks about how Akari is having a good time and tells him that maybe she doesn't mind it. Hearing this makes the friend laugh and say that it looks like they are getting along. The friend continues and tells him that Akari is clumsy. If she doesn't like it, it shows on her face. If he doesn't mind it, Akari won't mind it either. Hearing this makes the MC happy. He replies and tells the friend that he's still an examinee student. He doesn't have time for this. The friend replies and says that it seems like Akari wants to join the same political science class as them. Hearing this surprises the MC. The friend continues and says, "So, you'll have to go to an open campus and study with her. You don't have time for anything but work, do you?" The MC replies and tells him that's fine, but the last word he said annoys him. Hearing this makes the friend laugh. The friend tells him to take care of Akari for him. She's his beloved sister, and he's not ashamed to show her off anywhere. She is still a child. He continues and tells him that he'll never forgive him if he makes her cry and cuts the call. The MC tries to say something, but the call ends. The MC worries as he thinks that he's already made Akari cry and wonders if Subaru will hit him. As he's thinking this, we see Akari calling him as she walks out the house. He looks at her as she's freshly out the bath with her hair still wet. He looks at her and asks her what's wrong. She tells him that she just finished bathing, so he can use it. As he's about to reply, he suddenly sees something. He sees the moonlight hit her face as she smiles, and the gentle wind blows her still wet hair as she tells him, "There's something about summer nights that excites me." Seeing this leaves the MC starstruck. He looks at the night sky and says, "Yep, that's right." He steals glances of her as they both look at the night sky. Suddenly now, we see him drowning in water. We see that he's actually thinking about Akari and how she was in pajamas, with wet hair, and how she had the same shampoo scent as him. He tries to clear his mind from these thoughts, but stays in the water for too long and overheats. Akari hears these sounds coming from the other side and gets startled. Now we see the MC out the bath as he looks dead. Akari runs to him with a glass of water as she looks worried for him. She asks him if he's okay and gives him the water. He tells her to not worry and that he's just a little fatigued. As he tries to get up, she tries to hold his hand and says, "Let me help you get to the bed." He takes the support of the wall and tells her that it's fine and he can walk alone. As he tries to get up, he loses his balance and almost falls, but she holds him and tells him that he can count on her as much as he wants, and she always wants to help him. Hearing her say this surprises him. As she helps him, he thinks that Akari is such a good girl, and she smells so good, and her cold skin feels so good. As they arrive at the bed, Akari tells him that he's in his room. He doesn't respond, so she gets worried and looks at his face. But suddenly the MC falls on her, and they both fall onto the bed. Seeing that he's on her makes Akari blush real hard as she's confused. She tries to call the MC, but he's fast asleep. Now we see that he's actually dreaming about when he was in high school. In his dream, we see that he was sleeping as someone wakes him up. we see that it's Akari when she was in the same school as him. She apologizes for disturbing him. She tells him that her brother forgot his lunch, so she came to deliver it. He replies saying, "Yeah, he always forgets about his lunch a couple times a week. Thank you for all your hard work." As he's taking the lunchbox from her, we see that her hands are shaking as she thanks him. As she's done giving the lunchbox, she thanks him and goes away. He waves to her and sees her go. As she goes, he thinks that back in high school, this was the only conversation he had with Akari. She's just a friend's sister. He never thought what kind of girl Akari is, what kind of things she likes, what kind of topics make her smile. He never thought about these things seriously. She was too distant. But now, as he thinks this, he wakes up. As he wakes up, he sees Akari's sleeping face right in front of him. Seeing this shocks him. His face loses color as he thinks, why is she so close to him? He looks terrified as he says, "Why? Did I fall asleep because of fatigue last night?" As he says this, Akari wakes up. She opens her eyes and looks at him as she sees that he's awake now. He suddenly gets off her and apologizes to her as he asks what has he done. She suddenly holds his hands and tells him to wait a minute. She pulls him and hugs him. As she's blushing and hugging him, she tells him that he should still be resting. If he wants, he can use her as a hug pillow. Hearing this shocks him. He tells her that it's okay and tries to push her away. She tells him that he fell down because of fatigue. She gets on top of him and asks him if he needs CPR. Suddenly, he notices something as she's on top of him. He looks at her and thinks that when he looks at her like this, she's really a cute girl. She gets close to his face as he thinks about her long eyelashes, her beautiful hair, and her lips. As her lips get real close to his, he thinks that he can't take his eyes off her. Suddenly, the alarm starts going off. He looks at his phone and tells her that he actually has a morning run routine. He gets up and tells her that he's gonna go wash his face. As he goes out the room, he tells her that he's really okay now and she doesn't need to worry. As he walks out the room, she just sits there in silence. Now we see him on the other side panicking. He starts sweating as he thinks that was dangerous. He almost gave himself like that. It's no longer about being beaten up by Subaru. As he's washing his face, he looks in the mirror and thinks that Akari's been acting strange. He's just worried too much and panicked. He tells himself that he needs to pull himself up. As he's doing this in the bathroom, we see Akari in the room, sitting there and crying as she says, "Senpai." She gets her phone and texts her friend asking, "What should I do, Richan?" She starts bawling her eyes as she thinks, at this point, I may not be able to achieve my purpose. Chapter 4. We continue as we see Akari crying as she thinks about what happened between her and the MC and thinking what she should do now. At this point, she may never achieve her goal. We see that she texted this to her friend Rick-chan. Rick-chan replies and asks her, "What is it? And did she do what she was told yesterday?" Akari hesitates and remembers what happened last night when the MC fell down with a fever. As he falls on her, she panics and thinks what should she do and wonders if he is dead. Suddenly, she notices something. She sees that he's just sleeping and feels relieved. She looks at his face and thinks that he must have been tired because she barged into his house all of a sudden and then told him about her brother's debt. She looks at his face and starts getting all lovey-dovey as she thinks that she can't believe she got to see him so close. She can't keep up with her tolerance for such rewards like this. She covers her face as she thinks that she's so happy that she's about to cry. Suddenly, her nose starts bleeding and notices it. She also starts crying as she thinks that there's a lot of it leaking out, and she can't control it. She starts taking out her phone from her pocket and gets a very pervy look on her face as she thinks that she wants to capture this. She wants to make it her wallpaper and worship it every second. But if he woke up while capturing him, she's going to be branded as a nasty sleeping face photographer demon, and he'll definitely hate her. She opens her eyes wide and stares at his face, and tells herself to be patient and just burn this scene into her eyes. She holds her phone to her chest and thinks that if she doesn't release her happiness, she's going to explode. She slithers her way out of his hold and runs out the room as she thinks that she should ask Rick-chan. She goes outside the house and calls her friend Rick-chan. She talks to her as she looks real happy. The friend picks the phone and says, "You called me out of the blue, and I was wondering what, you hit your head or something?" Akari tells Rick-chan that she's being too cold and asks her, "Aren't we best friends?" Rick-chan replies and says that this best friend was not consulted about anything and was suddenly told about the debt. Akari apologizes to her and says that she was too embarrassed to say it. Rick-chan gets angry and tells her that she even has the nerve to barge into a man's house. Rick-chan suddenly asks Akari if she kissed him. Hearing this surprises Akari. She blushes and tells her that she didn't, as she thinks that she's never done that in her life. Rikchan asks her why didn't she kiss, even though she spent the day with him. She asks Akari what's her purpose again. Akari hesitates at first. She blushes and says that her purpose is to go out with Senpai. Akari continues and says that she doesn't have the courage to tell him yet. Kissing him is a faraway dream. Hearing this makes Rikchan say, "Good grief, what about your senpai? Did he push you down or make any moves on you?" Akari replies and says that he didn't, as she thinks that what he did now was just an accident. Rikchan tells Akari that she's so cute that she can't help but admire her every day when she sees her. Akari hears this and gets embarrassed as she asks Rikchan what's wrong with her all of a sudden. Rikchan continues and tells her that if there was ever a man who spent a day with Akari and never laid a hand on her, it means he doesn't see her as a love interest. He probably thinks that she's like his little sister. Hearing this shocks Akari. Akari falls to her knees while Rikchan continues and says that he's a super dense kind of man, or maybe he's not interested in 3D girls. Rikchan asks Akari if she's listening to her or not. Akari hears this and tells her that even if Senpai only thinks of her like a younger sister, he might suddenly feel her womanly charms at any moment, and it's too early to give up. Rikchan cheers Akari and tells her that she'll be rooting for her although she has no expectations. Hearing this hurts Akari a little. Akari stretches her hand to the moon and thanks Rikchan. She tells her that she was so excited to spend time with the senpai, but then she realized that no matter how far away he is, with a lot of appeals, she's definitely going to win her senpai's heart. Now, back to the present, we see her thinking that this morning she's already decided. She tried to seduce him even though it's embarrassing, but she's been evaded. She says this to Rikchan as she cries. Rikchan asks her what's the situation now and that the senpai should have noticed by now as it's been 2 days. Akari wipes her tears and tells Rikchan that she'll do her best. Seeing this fast change of mood surprises Rikchan. Now we see the MC come out of the washroom as he tells her that he's going to go do a bit of running. As he's about to tell her that, he sees that she's changed up and tying her hair. Seeing this confuses him. With a cheerful smile, she tells him that she'll join him too. She thinks that after running, she'll give him a bottle of sports drink and a towel. She's going to show off her charms. Now we see Akari struggling as she runs like a zombie. The MC looks at her and asks her if she's okay and that they've only been running for 5 minutes. She stretches his hand out to her and tells her that they should take a break in the park over there and asks her to hold his arm. She agrees and holds his arm. She looks at him as she's crying and apologizes to him for being a burden. She tightly grabs onto his arm and squeezes his arm into her assets. Having this feeling on his arm makes him blush and panic. He tells her that he's feeling a little lightheaded himself too, so they should go home and take a break. As he says this, he thinks that he didn't know that running was such an emotional experience. Now back in his apartment, he gets ready and tells her that he's got work today. As he goes, he asks her if she's going to be fine by herself. She looks sad like a little puppy as she tells him that she'll be fine. Seeing her like this makes him worry. He panics and says, "You're nervous, right? You're all alone in a strange place. I'm sorry. I'll definitely call you on my break." She immediately says no. She looks determined as she thinks that she messed up earlier, but she has a chance to make up for it. She'll have to show him that she can do the chores and take care of the house so that he can rely on her. She tells him that it's okay. She'll prepare a delicious meal for him. She'll be waiting for his return. Seeing her like this surprises him. He smiles and tells her that he's really looking forward to that, but she should totally take her time. He gives her the duplicate key. He heads off as they wave each other by. As they both are on the other side of the door, they go silent. They suddenly fall to their knees. The MC thinks about how he was sent off, and she thinks about the duplicate key. They both blush real hard and think that it's like they are a newlywed couple. He goes down the stairs as he gets embarrassed and says, "Just kidding. What the hell was I thinking?" He apologizes to Akari in his head for thinking about this fantasy. On the other side, we see Akari blush and say, "Just kidding. I've gone off on my own again." She wonders if she can just register the marriage contract without permission. As she's thinking this, she hears music from the bathroom. She sees that the laundry is done. As she looks at the laundry, her eyes go full heart and she starts breathing heavy like a pervert. We see that she's holding the MC's laundry and thinking that his pants are in this laundry net. She remembers him asking her if he really has to wash them with her clothes. He tells her to at least put them in washing nets first and try not to get it in their line of sight. She looks at it and takes a big gulp. She breathes heavily and thinks that she wants to see them. She wants to know what kind of pants Senpai is wearing. She stops herself and thinks, absolutely not. If I were to do something naughty in a moment of my desires, it would definitely show on her face. And if she did it, he'll hate her and kick her out. She holds her panties with tears in her eyes and screams, I'm jealous of my panties that they get washed with Senpai's pants. She asks her panties if they know what kind of luxury it is. She gets sad and says, someday I'll take a bath with Senpai. As she says this, she thinks about taking a bath with him and gets a nosebleed. She screams and says that she has to rewash the clothes now because of the nosebleed. Now we see her sitting in the living room as she talks to her friend on the phone. She tells her that she's been trying to do her best on showing her charms, but it's not going so well. Rikchan replies and says that she's learned that Akari is a disappointing beauty when it comes to love. In the first place, the shape of the debt is something out of the ordinary, and asks Akari how did she come up with that. Akari replies and says that she didn't think of it all by herself. On this year's Golden Week, when her brother came home, for the first time in her life, she begged her brother while bowing down to him on the floor. And this is how this chapter ends. Hope you all enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment. Thank you.